Analysis of ancient Maya female imagery has generally centered on the role of women depicted on monumental architecture such as stelae and decorative lintels. While we understand that these depictions are tools of propaganda, they are often used to make assertions about the lived experience of ancient Maya women. In contrast to the analysis of highly politicized and highly public imagery depicted on monumental architecture, this paper examines depictions of feminine performance on a personalized medium, Maya painted vases. More specifically, this paper will focus on the juxtaposition of clothing, design, and performativity, including gesture, pose, and activity among ancient Maya women. The vessels in question primarily date to the late Classic period, circa AD 600 to 900, but it's important to note that some of the earliest distinctly Mayan communities arose circa 1200 BC, and Mayan communities still exist today in Central America. So really we're dealing with a small snapshot in time. As Evans and Thornton aptly note, clothing is important. It is important because fashion itself is a text that elucidates identity, in particular gendered identity. When trying to understand constructions of gender, clothing can be a valuable analytical tool. Monumental imagery in general, and carved stelae in particular, depict women performing specific types of ritual tasks, such as bloodletting and supporting a male ruler in various ways. These images have been taken as indicative of an entire range of lived experience of ancient Maya women by scholars who tie these depictions to monolithic notions of identity, social status, economic class, and productive capacity. Miranda Stockett advocates for reconsidering the standard complementarity hierarchy model that grounds current understanding of the role of women in ancient Maya society. The gender complementarity model assumes that men and women had different but complementary roles in Maya society, while the gender hierarchy model assumes that gender was a basis of social distinction in a patriarchal system that placed men above women in economic, social, and ritual life. I believe that both of these models are problematic and that they do not allow us to see the nuanced differences in social stratification. Additionally, variable and situational relationships, along with individual agency, tend to be downplayed or even ignored in favor of conforming to a specific model. An examination of Maya vessels photographed by Justin Kerr reveals Maya women engaged in many types of activities while simultaneously wearing clothing responding to specific stylistic conventions that were appropriate for their given situation, social status, and economic class. I propose that relative social status, economic class, and power relations between both status and class can be elucidated through a comparative examination of clothing and performative action. An examination of Maya vessels through this comparative lens challenges the understanding of ancient Maya social organization as being a dichotomized system in which individuals are classed as either elite or commoners, but not both, and certainly not in between. When we look at the many examples of clothing design combined with performative action on the personal medium of ceramic vessels, the elite-commoner dichotomy collapses, revealing a much more complicated and meaningful understanding of ancient Maya's social, political, and economic identity. Monumental imagery such as stelae and lintels feature Maya women clothed in a garment that is known today by the Nahuatl word huipil. The huipil is a long sack-like garment with intricately woven patterns. As a garment, it is highly prized among contemporary indigenous Maya populations, and its significance extends into prehistory. As a precious feminine garment, huipils have become a diagnostic tool of analysis in Maya monumental imagery. In fact, the absence of overt male sexual characteristics combined with the huipil garment is widely regarded as sufficient to identify females in Maya art. Andrea Stone argues that women of high social rank were, based on social conventions, barred from bearing significant portions of their body in public, and thus wore a full huipil. Of the 18 women who are depicted wearing huipils, 12 of them are shown as standing and gesturing. 2 of these women are shown standing behind costumed male musicians. 3 women are shown standing behind a man who appears to be petitioning a ruler on a throne. 2 women are standing behind a male who is leaning over an offering bowl. 2 additional women are depicted in mirrored poses with male musicians. 1 vessel depicts 2 females letting blood from their tongues, and another shows a female standing behind a male ruler who is dancing. Obviously, I don't have room to put all of these images up here. 1 woman is shown bowing to a ruler on a throne who is presenting her with what appears to be a rattle, and 1 woman is shown consuming a beverage in a drinking scene. Another woman is shown putting her hand on the back of a man who is kneeling, and in the same vessel, a woman is shown standing next to a living ruler and giving him a mass. In yet another scene, a female is depicted as holding a mask. While not all of the women are depicted doing the same tasks, I contend that they are all doing the same type of tasks. That is, accompanying rulers and participating in rituals involving both dance and death. With the exception of the two women who are holding the masks, none of these women are engaged in any activity that may be considered domestic. They do not appear to be servants and are not depicted in any way that indicates servitude. It is my contention that these women, those wearing the full weeple, are part of a royal class of Maya women whose role in the social order was largely ceremonial and, according to stylistic conventions, needed to cover their body while performing ritual tasks. A second type of weeple is known as the scoop neck weeple. This garment is a full-length sack-like dress with open shoulders that allow the wearer to bare both their shoulders and upper arms. This clothing is not as prevalent as the other types. Of the 25 vessels I examined, I was able to find 4 images of women wearing the scoop neck weeple. One female is fanning a noble male as he is sitting down with a ruler on a throne. Another female is seen standing behind a male in an accession ceremony, holding either a mask or a severed head on a platter. And a third woman appears to be dancing. The fourth woman appears to be holding a shield while a warrior dresses for battle. These women are not in static poses, but are engaged in activities that women who are wearing full weeples are not. They are not only supporting, but also serving noble males. Because of this, it is my contention that the scoop neck weeples demonstrate an upper-class nobility while also acting in the capacity of a servant. Many royal servants of European monarchies came from noble families, and I suggest a similar arrangement among the ancient Maya. The sarong is a type of body wrap that covers the lower half of the body and the breasts. Some sarongs can be wrapped over a shoulder for additional support. Andrea Stone notes that sarongs are frequently worn by nursing mothers because the clothing gives easy access to the breast. Of the 25 vessels examined, by far the highest quantity of women are depicted as wearing a sarong. One woman is shown seated in front of a ruler and appears to be petitioning him and offering him a gift. 5 women are gesturing while sitting around a pot of food. 2 are depicted behind a bowl of tamales, presenting the bowl to a man. One female is grinding maize with a mano and metate. One woman is sitting on the ground with a child on her back. Another woman is kneeling on the floor holding an item, possibly a cloth, near the bottom of the male. 2 women are shown dancing. Another is being carried by a man on a tump line. While one is holding a drinking vessel, one is gesturing, one is standing near a ruler with an object in her hand. One is providing something for the ruler to smoke, and a final woman is shown helping a male dress. Maya women who are depicted as wearing sarongs in these cases are generally all engaged in productive activities such as cooking, grinding maize, and helping men dress for either ceremonies or battle. There are several images of women in sarongs caring for children. However, there are no images of women with weeples doing the same. This likely indicates that those women who wore sarongs were of sufficient social and economic standing that they were required to be somewhat covered, but not enough to be spared the domestic tasks of cooking and caring for children. While the majority of vessels depict clothed women, there are a few examples of nude or partially nude females. While most of these images depict supernatural scenes, there are a handful of vases that have nude or partially nude women related to terrestrial events. The upper vessel depicts the aftermath of a battle scene, and there are examples of women who are topless and frequently naked, as seen right up center there. The females who are depicted in here are seen in a relaxed kneeling pose. Both have what appears to be children in their arms. The scene at the bottom, I'll actually show the full image later, but it is a female wearing only a skirt in a semi-prostrate position in a death scene. In this scene, the female is using her body, in particular her lower back, as a footstool for a corpse. None of the women who are depicted as nude or partially nude are depicted as engaging in any sort of ritual behavior. One woman is actually engaged as a footstool for the corpse of a dead ruler, indicating that she is of extremely low status. The remaining individuals are depicted with children, qualifying them as mothers, and given their lack of any other adornments, likely of a lower status than clothed women. Correlations between clothing and action are made even stronger when depictions of women from both the same vessel and different vessels are compared to one another. This is an image that depicts 3 women helping prepare a male ruler. One woman in a weeple is holding a mask, possibly a death mask, while a single woman in a short sarong is seen holding a bowl in her left hand and holding her hand up to the male's backside. Directly in front of the male ruler is a female in a sarong holding something in her right hand and gesturing with her left. This is an image of a funeral scene. The woman shown in the bottom center of the image is in a flexed prone position, and as I said before, her lower back is being used as a footrest for the dead body. This image depicts a male dressing for battle. It contains 3 women, one with a full weeple, who is positioned so that the front of her body is facing outward with her head facing towards the male, whose body is also facing outward. The woman in the full weeple is shown holding a mask in her left hand and a fan in her right. Behind her is a woman in a scoop neck weeple who is holding a shield, and behind the male is a female in a sarong holding what appears to be a piece of armor. This vessel is unique in its depiction of women wearing 3 very different garments. The position of the 3 females relative to one another, in addition to the items that each woman is holding, makes it clear that there are likely 3 distinct social classes represented, and that 2 of these women, the one wearing the scoop neck weeple and the one wearing the sarong, are both acting in a servant capacity. However, only the woman who is wearing the scoop neck weeple is fully showing the shield in her hand. Significantly, classic period Maya imagery generally shows the main actors with their faces in profile, and they use the position of the body to indicate who is the primary actor in the scene. So it's significant that the 2 middle characters, their bodies are facing outward while their heads are shown in profile. The woman with the scoop neck weeple is shown completely in profile, but the object that she's holding is facing outward, whereas the woman in the sarong is completely shown in profile. Through an examination of women in Maya vessel imagery, we can discern a royal estate of women, generally seen wearing full weeples and participating in ritual, a noble servant estate of women, generally seen wearing scoop neck weeples that reveal slightly more of the body than full weeples, performing a varied tasks of service, including some domestic activity. A larger middle class of women engaged in domestic activity and some servant work were frequently depicted wearing sarongs that expose the upper chest and neck area, and a lower class of women engaged in menial or mundane, one could even say humiliating behavior, wearing skirts and either fully or partially bearing their breasts. This is not to say that these categories are static, but rather to explore the possibility that social expectations regarding appearance and behavior were acted upon in different ways by different people. Clothing, I propose, acts as a signifier of social, political, and economic viability. Clothing, in essence, communicates positionality, and the varied forms of female clothing in the ancient Maya iconographic record should be examined as such. I contend that it is only when we examine elements that highlight intersectionality and positionality will we be able to paint a picture of the lived experience of the people in the past, to which I would add is the point of archaeology in the first place. Thank you.